Mitch McConnell, is he dead? Is he alive? Is he coming back to work in the Senate? I'm here to answer that question. And if you guys are new here, hi, my name is Brandy. I am a professional astrologer here in Austin, Texas. And maybe you're here to learn a little about astrology, or maybe you're not into astrology, but there's this big mystery of where Mitch McConnell is, and you're open to what I have to say. Now, a lot of you guys might know me through the true crime astrology. We are switching gears, looking at this whole Mitch McConnell mystery. I am going to use horary astrology to just see what's going on, see if he's coming back, see if he's alive, see if he's passed away. Let's see what we can figure out here. So, just in case you haven't heard about all of this, or maybe you've heard a little bit and you're like, what's going on with this? Let me give you the rundown of this whole Mitch McConnell saga. So first of all, Mitch McConnell, he is a senator out of Kentucky, and here's where this whole saga starts. On June 14th, 2026, so he's at his residence in Washington, D.C., and a 911 call comes through at 8:36 a.m. An ambulance is dispatched to his residence, and they're asking for an advanced life support ambulance. So we know something's happened where there's some sort of life support or life support aid needed to come to his residence and help him. And later in the call, a responding medic says CPR is in progress. Mitch McConnell is then transported to the hospital, and that's the last he is seen, at least on video. So fast forward to like early July, no one's heard from him. No one has seen him, at least anything that can be verified. His office isn't releasing any information on his condition. It's very hush hush, and he's missing like several Senate votes. So at the time of recording this, today is Monday, July 27th. I believe he's missed like 38 Senate votes. He hasn't been to work in like 6 weeks. So let's go to Wednesday, July 8th. The Kentucky governor, Governor Beshear, he sends a formal letter to McConnell's office requesting an update on what's going on. And so I guess Mitch McConnell's office or wife, I don't know who. There's something put out by the McConnell staff on Sunday, July 12th, with a photo of him and his wife at the hospital saying all is well. He says he's experienced a fall. He was briefly unconscious. He did not suffer a stroke. He did not suffer a heart attack. Says he had mild pneumonia and that he's at an inpatient rehab recovering, and that he's not ready to return to the Senate yet. Now, you can look at the photo. His photo is controversial because some wonder if there was some AI or if it was an older photo. There is a section of the Sunday paper from July 12th that's in there. It looks kind of funny under his hand, but there's been like a little back and forth about this photo. Some say it's a legit photo. Some say it's doctored. I'll let you be the judge. So then we go to Tuesday, July 14th. A couple of days later, Governor Beshear comes out and says that Kentuckians deserve to know whether the elected officials are capable of serving their current condition. And he is suggesting maybe like a video appearance, like something non-controversial that will either put rumors to rest or let the Kentuckians know how their senator is doing and if he can perform. Now, here we are today, Monday, July 27th. We get a new update from McConnell, a new photo, still just a photo, not a video. Says he's undergoing intense physical therapy. Physicians say he's mentally alert, but he's not medically cleared to leave the rehabilitation, and that he's going to miss the annual fancy farm picnic in Kentucky, which I understand is one of the biggest like political events of the year, and that he's gone for decades. So here is the why behind this. Like, why would McConnell or his staff be covering anything up? This is why. Because in Kentucky, there is a Senate vacancy law. If a Senate vacancy occurs before August 3rd, there can be a special election held in November, so in the November general election. If the vacancy occurs after August 3rd, then the whole process changes. And so there is a theory that Mitch McConnell is either seriously ill, perhaps has passed away, or maybe is being kept alive with life support and they're hiding it because they don't want this information released before August 3rd. They don't want that Senate seat vacated. Now, this has been driving me nuts. I've been watching this, following up on this story. I wasn't impressed with the photo, especially the one that was released on July 12th. You know, for someone who has been hospitalized at this point for almost a month, to be sitting up in regular clothes, no IVs. And, you know, at this time, there's other people saying they've been on the phone with him. Scott Jennings was saying he had like a 17-minute call with him. There's all these people saying they've talked with him, yet he can't call Governor Beshear. He can't put out a video. Is very hush hush. So there is something weird going on here. So I've been wanting to do a video about this for a while, and I decided today was the day. Let's go ahead and see what's going on. We're going to use astrology. I'm actually going to use the chart from the 911 call because the sky always reflects what is going on, what is happening, and hopefully we can get some insight and some answers here. All right, here we go. Got the magic astrology software here. We're looking at the time this 911 call was placed, which was 8:36 a.m. Eastern Time in Washington, D.C. Now, if you're here just to hear what's going on with McConnell and you're not big into astrology, bear with me. I'm going to go through what I'm seeing here and explain what it means. So first of all, where I'm going to start to see where Mitch McConnell is represented in this chart is I'm going to start with the 10th house because he's a public figure. He's a politician. He's a senator. I feel like 10th house is appropriate for this. Now, if he wasn't a prominent political figure, I would probably just look at the first house to see what's going on with him. I'm going to look at a little of both to see, you know, to cover our basis and to see what the chart is saying about either ruler here. So let's start with that 10th house. It's in Aries. And so I'm going to look to Mars in the chart because Mars rules Aries. And so Mars is right here in the 10th house, in the public house. Okay, this is where public figures are represented. This is where our careers are. This is the outside world. You know, it's that window to the outside world where you're very visible and very seen. So Mars is here in this house. It's in Taurus, which is a detriment. So Mars in Taurus is debilitated. It doesn't work well in this sign. So what we're seeing is that Mitch McConnell is in a weakened state. It's in the worst sign possible for Mars. So we know there's a problem. There is definitely a problem, hence a 911 call. Now, one thing I see going on with this chart as well, the ascendant is 29 degrees Cancer, the anaretic degree. So there is some urgency here. There is an emergency, if you will. So just another validation that this isn't just a fall. You know, this isn't a fall where, oh, we're going to call 911 to just be cautious and make sure everything's okay. That's not what this chart is representing. There is a true emergency happening here. And we got the North Node here in Pisces, in the house of death. Now, that doesn't mean anyone has died, but I really feel like this is indicating that death is a concern or, you know, something life-threatening. Now, let's go to the house that would represent health here, because we're already seeing Mitch McConnell being represented by Mars and Taurus, being in a weakened state. There being an emergency with a 29-degree Cancer chart. I want to look at his health. And so I'm going to go to 6 houses from his ruler here, or from his ruling house. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The third house here is actually going to represent his health. It's in Virgo, which is very appropriate. That is the sign for health. And it's ruled by Mercury, which in this chart, Mercury is in the 12th house. Not a great placement. We're seeing there is something going on with his health, and it's over here in the 12th house of things that are hidden from us, things that are kept secret. And so we know there is something going on that him, his crew, his family do not want out in the open. And the fact that it's ruled by Mercury, Mercury does rule the lungs and breathing. It makes me think there's definitely a pulmonary event, pulmonary, lungs, heart together, right? Like, so the fact that a medic is saying CPR is in progress, absolutely believe that because of the call, but also because of the astrology here. Now, let's look at this another way, because I also want to look at the first house representing Mitch McConnell, just because I feel like both could apply. He would be represented by the moon in Gemini, a Mercury sign, because Mercury rules Gemini. Another indication there is something going on with not breathing, or an issue with breathing is what is instigating this 911 call. Now, if we're going to the house of health, just based off the first house here, we got the sixth house in Capricorn. And we also have the eighth house in Aquarius. The eighth house is death. Sixth house is health. They are both in Saturn ruled signs, because Saturn rules Capricorn and Saturn is a traditional ruler of Aquarius. So what's going on with Saturn in this chart? It's also in a fall. It is in a sign that is not great. It's in a sign that shows there is something weakened here. Mitch McConnell is not in good shape. He is very ill. And I still want to go with there's something life-threatening here because of that north node in the eighth house of death. Now, do I think death has occurred? I don't think so. I don't think he's passed away I don't think he has died when the ambulance arrives or when the call is placed. I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing somewhat of a revival, if you will, only because I'm kind of looking at everything here. We got the Mercury, we got Jupiter pretty close together in the 12th house. Jupiter is approaching the first house. So there is something about helping, having some kind of life support measure because Jupiter is leaving the 12th. Now, here's the thing going on in this chart that makes me think Mitch McConnell is still, I want to be careful with the term alive. Could he be alive? Yes. Could he be on life support machines? I could see that being a possibility too. Do I think he's passed away, as in he's passed, he's not in a hospital, arrangements have been made? I don't see that. But here's what I do see. Let's look at this first house. Look at this chart as a whole. Venus is right here in Leo in the first house. Now, Venus is actually going to be in charge of Mars, also known as Mitch McConnell, because Mars is in Taurus, a Venus-ruled sign. So this tells me there is a female in control of Mitch McConnell, his decisions, and his health, because it's ruling that Mars and because it's sitting in the first house, just the position of it. This is probably his wife. She is the one that is probably putting out the statements. I'll say creating the photos. I am not convinced these are current photos. And she's the one calling the shots because she's in Leo. Leo is ruled by the sun. It's, where you're seen, right? It's where you're also performing. She's the one that's putting on this show. And here's some other things I see going on in this chart. Looking at Mercury, pulling it out a little separately from the lung issues that we saw earlier. Mercury in itself is just communication. It's information. And it's in the 12th house where we're hiding things or things are being hidden from the public. I'll put it that way. And then in the 9th house where you have like legal stuff, which I think would definitely be where we put this whole Senate vacancy law issue. We got Neptune here. Neptune it comes up when there is either deceit, some lying, some trying to cover up. It's in that 9th house of law. I think Mitch McConnell is not well enough to serve. I think if he is not receiving life support measures, then he at least has something very debilitating going on. Maybe he can't speak because Mercury's over here in the 12th, or there's been something happen where he cannot fulfill his duties right now. He is in a very weakened, fragile state of health. I really want to see Mitch McConnell's birth chart because I want to see what's happening to him personally. We were looking at an event chart of when the 911 call was made, which gives us a lot of information, but I want to see what's happening to him overall. Now, death cannot be predicted using a birth chart, but we can definitely see cycles of health, certain seasons in life. And if someone is I would say close to death, or if they're in a serious health crisis, you're going to see things in the chart that indicate where things are going. We don't have a birth time for him, so I do not have his chart, but I do have the placement of the planets. So we have to ignore the houses here and just see what's going on in general. Now, as of today, as of recording this, we have the Jupiter and Leo transit going on. This is happening over his Pluto. And if you notice, it's getting very close to Chiron. All right, so if you're new to Chiron, Chiron is referred to as a wounded healer. It can be a triggering spot in our chart that can either be like opening up a wound, or it can be healing. Now, depending on your view of healing, healing can be getting better health-wise, or if someone's in really bad health, healing can be looked at as an end of suffering. Here's what I think is going to happen. We are still continuing the story, right? That Mitch McConnell, he's doing well, he's just getting stronger, and he's going to be back at work really soon. But he can't call the governor, he can't put out a video. He looks great, but we're just going to just give you a still photo. Guys, that's not happening. I think what's going to happen here in a few days as Jupiter gets close to his Chiron, because Jupiter in the sky is at 6 degrees Leo, Chiron is at 10 degrees. Let's fast forward. I think when it gets within 3 degrees of Chiron, which would be 7 degrees, I think we are going to get an update. I think we're going to start knowing what's going on. And look what happens. When Jupiter hits that 7-degree mark, we are right around August 3rd, guys. We are right around that deadline for the special circumstances of filling his seat or having a special election to fill his seat. I think the Mitch McConnell team is going to be a little bit more savvy about this. I don't think they're going to wait till right on August 3rd. I think they're actually going to wait until a few days after to make this look like they weren't pulling shenanigans. I think when you get Jupiter right at 10 degrees, there's going to be an update. Either Mitch McConnell will have passed away. They will either announce he has passed away if he was on life support measures. Maybe that's when decisions are made. Or we're going to get word that he's stepping down and he can't fulfill his duties, which will be after the deadline that deals with the vacancy laws. So the astrology is actually matching up with these deadlines. So let me kind of go ahead and repeat what I said. I think around August 3rd. So look for anywhere between August 3rd and August 14th, 15th, anywhere in that time, we're going to have an update. And I have a feeling Mitch McConnell is not going to be able to serve, whether it's death, whether it's brain death, whether it is just he is so ill he cannot fulfill his duties. Maybe we find out he did have a stroke, or maybe we find out he's alive, but he's not well. So that's my conclusion. I think he is not able to serve right now. I don't think he's dead. Possible brain death, maybe, possibly on life support. I think that's a possibility. If it's not that, I think he absolutely is not in health to serve. There is something going on where he can't make a video. Maybe there's something with speech. Maybe there's something with cognitive health. We see he's in a weakened state of health. I don't think he's coming back to the Senate. And I think it would be a good time to put the people of Kentucky and the U.S., he's a U.S. senator, put their interest up front as a priority and do what's right for these people. And I think every single update we are getting from Mitch McConnell is really his wife. She is in charge of this. I don't know, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Let's keep this polite. This is a discussion. Let me know in the comments what you think happened to Mitch McConnell. If you're here for the astrology, let me know what you see in those charts, because guys, these charts are a deep dive. I covered them lightly in these videos, but you can go all sorts of directions. So if you're seeing something and have a good point to make with the planets or whatever you're seeing in the chart, I want to hear about it. Put it in the comments. I read them all. And if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit like on this video, leave a comment, and hit subscribe. There's more content coming. It was good to be back with you guys. I will talk to you soon.